You are the average of the five people that you spend the most time with. When I learned this, it really genuinely changed how I perceived the people I hung out with. Because at first I didn't really believe it. At first, sorry, I have a bit of got a bit of a sore throat today. The five people that I used to spend the most time with. First, I thought, oh, they're just good people, and sure, we don't really, agree with some of their values, or don't really believe in the stuff that they believe in. So that's not going to affect me. I'm my own person. That was very wrong. Let's just say, well, a couple of years ago, I had it wasn't a close friend. It was a guy I knew. I enjoyed spending time with him. He was a good guy, and he would encourage me to do things that I didn't exactly want to do, and wasn't a great influence. And I know there's the whole like peer pressure thing, right? And he didn't exactly peer pressure. He just would say things like, "Oh, it's okay," or "Just do whatever you want. Everybody does it. It's no big deal." Blah 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 blah. I used to think to myself, well, you know, he can do his own thing. I'll do my own thing. I'm not gonna indulge in the things he wants to indulge in. Whatever. But he was one of my five. And as I spent more time with him, I had this almost like voice in the back of my head that would say, "It's okay. Just do whatever you want to do. Everybody does it." And I began to think to myself that that's okay, what he said was okay to do. And just say he used to go to the same school as me, and then he left. So yeah, I don't really need to. I don't hang out with him anymore. So he's not one of my five anymore. And I noticed that when he left, and he wasn't one of my five anymore, that voice in the back of my head that said, "It's okay, just it's whatever, no big deal. Everyone does it," got quieter, quieter, and quieter. Oh, I hate having sore throats. So what is this? How is this important to you? Well, I believe it was in something in scripture. I don't remember the verse. I don't remember what it was called, but it's in the Bible. Um, I don't remember the entire thing, but it's if your right hand causes you to sin, then you should cut it off and throw it into hell. Because it's better to cast your right hand into hell than to allow your entire body to burn. And I think this really showed me, it's really helped me to realize that this person in my life was like that right hand, and he wanted me to sin. Now, I didn't, you know, cut him off and throw him away. Like, I don't want you in my life anymore, whatever. But in a way, I feel like God did in some way because he left. He went to a different school. And then I got a new average for my I got I got a new fifth person, and that really helped me in life. And so what I'm getting at here is, say you have five buddies, five very close friends in your life. One of them doesn't really, say he does drugs. He's a bit of a degenerate. He doesn't want, he has values that don't align with yours. And you may think to yourself, well, it's whatever, he can do his own thing. But believe it or not, that does have a profound effect on you. And I'm not saying, cut him off, get rid of him. I'm saying maybe spend less time with this person. Find a new fifth person to spend your most time with. Now, this also works not just on the negative side, but it also works in a positive way. And so if you have a group of friends, a group of guys, I'm a guy, so I'm going to have it be a group of guys in my imagination, but it can be a group of girls, whatever you want to imagine, right? So you got all your friends, you're hanging out, having a good time, right? And one of them is, say, a Christian, when the rest of you guys are atheists. Or say this person is more whatever, like this guy is very disciplined. He goes to the gym, he has good values, he doesn't indulge in degeneracy, he thinks that's bad. And so this person is going to have an effect on your life and the others around you. However, unfortunately for this person, and say this person is you, unfortunately for this person, you have an effect on him as well. If you have negative values, if you have bad values, then that is going to have an effect on this person. So either all of your friend group obtains good values, which is unlikely, or he gets all of your friend group's negative values, which is usually what happens. And so what I'm getting at here is, if you are that guy in your friend group with the good values, who's encouraging you, who is pushing the people in your life to improve, to do better, to become a better version of yourself, of them, to improve their lives. You're encouraging your friends to do better. If one of your buddies whips out a crack pipe and starts getting high, are you going to be that guy who encourages them, like, hey man, let's just not do that today? Encourages them to quit drugs because it's going to have a negative effect on their lives. And you may think that's a good thing. You may think that's great. But I'm here to tell you that usually that works. And it might improve their lives. But think about it. In order for you to encourage them to do better, you have to spend time with them. And if you're the average of the 5 people you spend time with, shoot, it's like your right hand wants you to sin. And you're fighting, you're encouraging your right hand and holding it back, encouraging it not to sin. What's that going to do? Well, it's just going to weaken your own spirit. There was a metaphor that I try to apply a lot to my own life, and that is that iron sharpens iron, but wood only dulls it. And so, when I think of this, I think of I was kind of a weird kid, so this probably doesn't apply to you. But when I was little, I would take sticks and get like my dad's pocket knife and ask him. I would want to sharpen them, but he wouldn't let me because I was young and stupid. And so he would do it for me. And so he would take his knife and he would sharpen his stick. And that made the stick sharper. That improved the stick. Because before it was just a random stick that I found in the woods. But he sharpened it. And now it's a tool. Now he wouldn't actually like sharpen it to be razor sharp. He would basically just like sharpen it and have the tip not exist. So it would look like a spear, but it wasn't actually functional. So I couldn't stab myself. And so that knife improved the stick. But what happened to the knife? Well, it dulled. It dulled slightly. Maybe you have a friend who's like that stick, who's like that wood. You're always working on them, you're trying to sharpen them, improve them. And maybe that works. Maybe they become better versions of themselves. Or maybe you get tired. You've been spending a lot of time with this person who doesn't have values that you agree with, and you start to believe in this person's values. You start to become duller yourself. And eventually you become so dull that you can't even sharpen them anymore. And then they get dull too. But lucky for you, you see, when my dad had his knife and it got dull, what did he do? Well, he got one of those sharpener thingies from Roll Cane or Walmart or wherever you guys go. And he got one of those sharpened thingies and he sharpened his knife. Now the knife was sharp again. And it could keep making spears. And so if you're the knife in your relationship with your friends, and you're sharpening them, and you can tell that, it's really taking a toll on you, and you're starting to feel a little degenerate, I guess. I don't know. Find a friend. Find some people who are iron themselves, because iron sharpens iron. If you surround yourself with a group of people that have similar values to you, well, what's going to happen? You're both going to rub off on each other. You're going to give each other good values, good advice that you didn't think about before. and you're going to give them good advice that they didn't think about before, and you're going to improve each other. And so you're going to sharpen each other. You're going to make each other better. And that way, now that you're razor sharp, you can go back to your other group of friends, sharpen them too. And eventually, they'll become sharp enough that they'll find their own group of friends. They'll start sharpening each other. And the next thing you know, you've got a group of people, like two groups of people in your life that sharpen each other. And you keep improving, you keep improving, you keep improving until you're all razor sharp. And I noticed this in my own life where sometimes I would hang out with people who weren't really the best for me, and they would impart values that I didn't like. But luckily, I was able to return to my other friend group. We would sharpen each other, make ourselves better. This video is getting pretty long, so I'm going to leave it at that. Iron sharpens iron. If there's one takeaway that you can take from this video, it's that iron sharpens iron. Sorry. All right, well, stay wild. I hope you sharpen your friends.